final part of the one chapter of Buttercup's Baby from the 30th anniversary edition of The Princess Bride. It's titled Fezzik Falling, as it will say in the thumbnail and say in the description and title of the video, I think. So Fezzik, it is back to real time. Fezzik is diving through the air and is swimming through it, basically. He's cupping his hands, kicking with his feet, all that, try to reach Waverly. And in order to calm her, he makes some funny faces that she'll recognize, and we'll calm her down. That's nice, that's sweet. It then gives us a flashback to after her birth, that he was basically a dedicated babysitter to her, but also had a sense of whenever something was wrong with her. Like, it describes one point where he's bothered, he's unhappy, he's upset. It's like, why is that? I hate it when she's sick. Okay, and then it was in the evening that she actually developed a fever. So, things like that. Which make Wesley and Buttercup completely comfortable with him being her babysitter, because will always protect her, for one thing, but has this connection, so. But it's also, like, no explanation for how Buttercup is still alive. None, it's just, yeah, she's okay. Went through the C-section, despite Wesley and Inigo, who both know death, as I said in the previous video. They would know death, they would recognize death. Nope, she's dead. Nope, she's not. And we don't have a Miracle Max. But Fezzik manages to reach her during the fall. And then just, turns himself, holds her close, but turns himself and tries to flatten himself out as much as possible to slow down. So that he's thinking, it's like, it's a good thing I'm a giant, because if I hit the ground first like this, she has a chance at living. Not really, because this is thousands of feet. Because it even says, like, at one point, he catches her and there's 3,000 feet. Or no, he's about to catch her 3,000 feet. Does catch her 2,000 feet, something like that. Which just makes no sense. So apparently this mountain that they're on, which had a plateau at the top, has a cliff face. We're not describing it as a cliff face, we're describing it as a mountainside. And it's like, you do run in, mountainsides should have angles, so they collide up here, not down here. I don't know the geography of this mountain, and it should be described. But it's not. But it ends with it just being him being thankful he's a giant, because it gives him a chance of potentially saving her life by his death. And that's where it ends. And then it goes into an aside where Goldman is saying that when he told it to his grandson, the grandson was like, Fezzik shouldn't die. And Goldman basically saying, yeah, I believe Morgenstern would figure out some way to do that, but he doesn't know. That would be in a chapter he hasn't seen, technically hasn't written. And it's like, and it was mentioned in one of the introductions, the idea that a great bird comes down and saves them, but it's still that could potentially not save them. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things where you see in like superhero movies, Lois just falling, Superman goes like that and catches her. It's like, there's still enough momentum going down that a sudden stop can kill you, whether it's hitting a floor or suddenly somebody catching you and just ending that momentum down. It's still, you suddenly stopped. So it's like you'd have to do more like that. It's never how it's depicted, and it's like, well, you'd need the bird to do that. Is 2,000 feet enough? But it's also, we don't have various things explained at this point. Like, okay, they were on the island that no one can get to. Now they're on a mountain that is not on the island. The highest point on the island is the tree. It's called One Tree Island because it's the only thing you can see above a fog that surrounds the island. So that's the highest point of the island is the tree. Fezzik was hiding behind that tree during Buttercup's labor. So he can clearly get there comfortably. He's not scrambling, he's not struggling, he's not lumbering up a mountain. No, he just went up and hid on the other side of the tree. So, yeah, this doesn't make sense. And it's like, yeah, things can be explained, but it still is I don't feel as fine. If things can be explained, write more than the one chapter. to give those explanations. I was like, this, and also write a better chapter so it's not causing contradictions, it's causing me like, wait, she's dead, now she's alive? How does that work? Well, Wesley was it? No, Wesley was mostly dead. He was somewhat dead and then mostly dead, and Miracle Max brought him back. Miracle Max isn't around. Do we have any reason to believe that anyone there knows how to make the resurrection pill? No. Do you have any reason to believe they have the materials needed to make a resurrection pill? No. Do you have any reason to believe that Buttercup is going to survive? No. But she survives. So, I started keeping a table. I have tables of basically everything I publish, including all the videos, believe it or not. But I decided to make this table to track the different books, and along with it, my recommendations. My recommendation categories, which this is something I reviewed video games for like 13 years. I don't like scores. Instead, it was just, do I recommend a game, do I not recommend a game? Well, eventually what it evolved into was, do I recommend a game, do I fail to recommend a game, do I recommend against a game? Applying that here, but it's, even then, it's a little bit more, because there's flavors. Because, like, fail to recommend a game, I think this is the easiest one to explain the whole flavors there. That, yeah, I can be like, a game wasn't that fun, or in this case, a book, was it fun to read, was it not, was it enjoyable, things like that. It can be a, yeah, I didn't get enough enjoyment out of it to say you should read it, but, yeah, I mean, it's got things in there that are good, got things in there that I can, like, Attack the Clones would be an example of that, where that's flavored to, closer to being recommended. Fail to recommend is just centered on 0, so that's a 1. -1 is flavored towards recommend against. Recommend is centered on 3, recommend against is -3. And there's also 2 and -2 that's flavored towards the fail to recommend, and then 4 and -4 where recommendation on 4 is like, you gotta read this. And for failure at -4 would be a, this book should not have even been published kind of thing, right? So here's what I'm going to put into it for this book, for The Princess Bride. It's a 3. So I would recommend reading it. But only The Princess Bride. Do not touch Buttercup's Baby. I don't think it's worth it. I think it does harm. Don't touch it. I don't even think the special anniversary introductions are necessary to touch. Just the story. And even then I'll have a note, the ending, not that good. The movie does better. But a lot of the rest of it is actually really good. Very easy to recommend there. If the ending were better, I might give it a 4. If Buttercup's Baby wasn't here, because I'm having to review this version of the book, Buttercup's Baby wasn't there. Again, a 4 would be better. If the introduction was there, a 4, I'd feel more comfortable. Not that 4 would be better, but feel more comfortable. But no, I think 3 is what it's going to be, which is a recommendation. I do recommend reading it. Just not all of it, not the whole of this thing. Only, let me see if I can, yeah, from there to there. Just this much, which is the bulk of it. This is Buttercup's Baby ignored. This is the introductions, you can ignore those. Just this. I mean, oh boy, there's a part I would never do this because I'd never want to harm a book. But it's like to demonstrate this, just because of how much I dislike Buttercup's Baby, I'm tempted to just rip that off. But I would not do something that dramatic. It's tempting, but I'm not going to do it. And it's also, I would not damage a book. But oh god, it's really. As I said, I feel it's doing harm to the story. It's doing harm to the characters, especially Fezzik. As I said, you're making him to a childlike cartoon. He deserves better than that, and he was treated better than that for the bulk of The Princess Bride. Not always. There were some moments when they made him more childish, but it's like, you know what? He's simple-minded. That's fine. There can be periods when it drops down to being. I'm okay with that because you bring it back up to simple. This is like nah. He's just a child in a giant's body. It's like, no, he should not be. He should be better than that. One thing I will say, just pure speculation. It's titled Buttercup's Baby. this invader thing is what allowed her to even be born safely. Potentially that is why Fezzik also has this special connection with her. And the villain who kidnapped her has a face without skin and knows all kinds of magic. So my guess is Waverly is some kind of special being. I don't know what, but my guess is like some sort of special magical being, that there is some force that is protecting her. That force is what invaded Fezzik, or was sent to invade Fezzik by another. And that this villain is some force or agent for the force that wants her destruction for whatever reason. I don't know. And honestly, I don't like that idea. The Princess Bride, there is some fantastical elements to it, especially with Fezzik and being a giant, and the machine and the resurrection pill. There are elements there, but a lot of that are fantastical. But a lot of it is also oh yeah, I can see how that connects with the real world. That it's like, oh well, yeah, great fencers, those exist. Large men do exist. Large, powerful men like Fezzik do exist. Andre the Giant, I mean, but Fezzik did seem described as something greater than that. Six-fingered people do exist, although I'm not sure if only on one hand. That might have to be both. I'm just legitimately unsure about. The machine, no. Resurrection pills, no. But Miracle Max, well, all the Miracle Men are kind of described as just doctors of the day. So it's like, again, that's okay. This, full-on, we're just talking about magic here. No. I was like, the most magical thing in The Princess Bride is Wesley and Buttercup's love for each other. That true love. That's it. There's nothing greater than that in it. That's how it should have been left. It should have just been that. There isn't any magic beyond that. And that's just the magic of love. That's it. Because it also means that this could be in this world. It could exist. So, Buttercup's baby seemed to be robbing us of that. So, yeah, I definitely do not think it is good. Yeah. Wish I had a different answer, but Buttercup's baby, I do not recommend. Princess Bride, the story itself, recommend. Oh, if you want me to give a score for Buttercup's baby, like, well, not a score, but what recommendation want to give it? I hate it. I have to give it a -4. And I hate it isn't I hate Buttercup's baby. It's I hate that that's what I think I have to give it. I would give it a -3 if I liked Inigo's portion in there, but I can't because it does damage Inigo, and I already talked about that in that video. If that were better, if that didn't have contradictions, if that didn't disrupt his character as much as it clearly does, for my understanding of his character from the book, and also from the movie, if it didn't do that, I would give it a -3. But because there is no section of this that I feel is doing things that are consistent with the story, are good, are building up something interesting, something enjoyable, something I want to read, because there is not one section that truly does that. And there are so many moments of characters being damaged, characters that I like and respect from the original story, that are being damaged here. In every single part. I have no choice. That Buttercup's baby, I would give a -4 to a straight up. I don't even know why it's in here. I don't think it should be. That is horrible to say. Because for one thing, that's insulting the man's work, and I don't want to do that. But it's just, I think I said in the previous part, maybe it was one before. If he had lived and actually written out Buttercup's baby, I think he would have had to have rewritten this chapter. At least that would be my hope, that as he had all these threads and started pulling them tighter to make that rope that is the rest of the story, realize that, oh, I cannot have how it is here. Or even just somebody else look at it and be like, you do realize this leads to all these problems here with the original book, right? And him having to go, oh, you're right, I need to fix that. But that would be hard, because it's also like, well, I guess he could just say, well, as I continued reading, I realized that Morgenstern made these mistakes, so I went back and fixed it to correct it with what's in the field. I don't know, but yeah, The main story itself, I'll give a 3 to. Buttercup's Baby's a -4 because it just... The main thing is the damage. If it weren't for the damage, it would be... It'd be probably a -2. I'd still recommend against it. I don't think it's that good. For other structural reasons, but if the characters weren't damaged, if I could still like all the characters and you still just had all the silly contrivances, it would be a -2. Because the silly contrivances are so frequent that it couldn't be a fail to recommend. It would still be a recommend against. But at least it would be there is potential here. That's why it would be -2. So it's flavored towards just fail to recommend. But no. So yeah. But just saying it again because I don't want to end on the bulk of the book saying as though somebody could hear that and think, oh, he's saying don't. No. The book, The Princess Bride itself, the story, that part of the story of this, that is worth reading. That's a 3. I recommend reading it. Don't bother with Buttercup's Baby. See you next time for a story that, as I said in the previous video, I've read it already years ago. Amusingly, it's another one that there's a movie of, although the book might have more people aware of it than the movie. I'll talk all about that later in that video. But I have read it before, and I did really enjoy it then. I wasn't as technical, wasn't as critical back then, so we'll see what I may or may not have to complain about. But that should be not as hair-pulling, and I don't have that much left anyway. It should not be as hair-pulling as Buttercup's Baby certainly was at some points. So, yeah. See you then.